Okay, so in this video, I will discuss on how to graph and how to solve for the values of x and y, or how to make a table of values and plot it into Cartesian coordinate plane. Okay, so for example, number 1, so our rational function is f of x is equal to 6 over 3x. Okay, so una is gumawa tayo ng table of values. So ano ba yung dapat na nilalagay ko sa values ni x? Okay, so check natin ano ba yung restriction. So again, pagdating po dito sa fractions, ang denominator should not be equal to 0. And that is your restriction already. Okay? The denominator should not be equal to 0. So, kailan ba magiging 0 itong 6 over 3x? Kailan ba magiging 0 itong denominator na to? Kapag ang value ng x ko ay 0, okay, kapag ang value ng x ko ay 0, then this function or this rational function will become undefined. So, eto na yung nagsilbing restriction ko. Okay, so sinet ko yung restriction sa gitna, sa value ni x. So, bakit? Para equal yung distribution ng graph. So, from 0 bilang pakanan, so 1, 2, 3, 4. From 0 bilang pakaliwa, negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3. Okay, so next is you're going to substitute the value of x for you to find the value of y. So, i-substitute lang natin, ano ba yung value ng x ko? So, I have negative 3. So, that is 6 over 3 multiplied by negative 3. Okay, so again, 6 over 3 multiplied by negative 3 is equal to 6 over negative 9. Okay, so and this 6 over negative 9 or negative 2 over 3 is equal to negative 0.67. Okay, so next, what if the value of x is negative 2? So what will be the value of our y? So if the value of x is negative 2, so that will become 6 over 3 multiplied by negative 2. So 6 over 3 multiplied by negative 2 is negative 6. And 6 divided by negative 6 is negative 1. Okay, so now what if the value of x is negative 1? So just substitute the value of x, which is negative 1. So it will become 6 over 3 multiplied by negative 1. So that is 6 over 3 multiplied by negative 1 is negative 3. And 6 over negative 3 is negative 2. Okay, so again, 0, if the value of x is 0, then that is undefined. So, bakit? So, 6 over 3 multiplied by 0 is 0. Again, there is a rule that the denominator should not be equal to 0 kasi pag naging 0 ang denominator, that is already undefined. Next is, okay, so next is what if the value of x is 1? So, again, continue lang yung process. Substitute lang yung value ng x, then solve for the value of y. So, if x is 1, then 6 over 3 multiplied by 1, so that is 6 over 3, and that is equal to positive 2. So, if x is 1, then the value of y is 2. And if x is 2, then the value of y is 6 over 3 multiplied by 2 is 6 over 6 or 1. So, just continue the process. So, gawin lang kung ano yung ginawa nung una. Substitute lang yung value ni x dito sa given function. And if x is 3, the answer or the value of y is 0.67. And if x is 4, then the value of y is 0.5. Then after that, pwede mo na siyang i-plot dito sa Cartesian coordinate plane natin. Okay, so in our Cartesian coordinate plane, so kung meron akong negative 3 and negative 0.67 na value ni y, so sa x-axis, hanapin si negative 3. So this is our x-axis and this is our y-axis. Hanapin si negative 3 and hanapin si negative 0.67. Ang negative 0.67 ay nasa baba. Okay, so next, negative 2 and negative 1. So, negative 2 kay x, negative 1, 1 and negative 2. So, I have here 1, negative 1, sorry, negative 1 and negative 2. 0 and undefined. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya mag-meet dito sa 0. So, that is your restriction. Okay, so next, 1 and 2. So, positive 1 and positive 2. 2 and 1. So, positive 2 kay x-axis, positive 1 kay y-axis. 3 and 0.67, positive 3. Angat lang ng konti. And positive 4 and 0.5. Okay? So, again, ang restriction ko is x is equal to 0. Magiging undefined yan. So, given this, points, just connect the points. So, this is the graph of our function f of x is equal to 6 over 3x. So, ngayon naman, paano ko malalaman ano yung domain and ano yung range? Okay. So, find the domain. Okay, so again, ang domain natin, that is the set of values of x. Again, ang domain natin, that is the set of values of x. So, sa paghahanap ng domain, sige po, tingnan natin sa x-axis. Ano yung naging restriction natin kay domain? Saan siya hindi nagtagpo? Okay, so we have restriction. Ano po yun? Bawal ang 0 na value ni x. So, bakit? Kapag 0 ang value ni x, undefined yung makukuha natin. So, ibig sabihin, ang value lang ng domain ko is negative infinity, 0 which is the restriction, union, 0 which is the restriction, up to positive infinity. So, that is the range, domain. And for the range naman po, check naman natin yung y-axis. So, ito yung y-axis natin. Okay, so ito yung y-axis. I-check mo ulit ano yung restriction natin pagdating kay y-axis. Check mo yung graph. Hindi siya nagtatagpo sa 0. Okay, so hindi siya nagtagpo dito sa y is equal to 0. As well as this one. This graph. Hindi siya nagtagpo sa y is equal to 0 and this graph hindi rin nagtagpo sa y is equal to 0. Ibig sabihin po, that is your restriction. So, from negative infinity, then 0, which is your restriction, hindi nagtagpo dito. Union, 0, which is your restriction, hindi ulit nagtagpo dito, pero papunta kay positive infinity. Okay, so another example, kung meron akong y is equal to x plus 3 over x minus 1, so ito yung mas simple na pagkuha ng domain and range using a graph. Okay, so for example, ito yung graph nung given function, or rational function. Okay, so again, domain and the range. Okay, so yung sa domain natin, to find the domain, kunin mo na agad ano yung restriction ng fraction. Ano ba yung zeros of denominator? So, restriction ng fraction, ito rin yung zeros of denominator. So, ang restriction niya is positive 1. Okay, so kung sakaling igagraph natin yan, x is equal to positive 1, ito yung restriction. Okay, sa x-axis, hindi nila na-meet yung positive 1. So, the domain is negative infinity, then the restriction which is 1, union, the restriction which is 1, up to positive infinity. Okay, so again, negative infinity, then the restriction which is 1, and restriction which is 1 up to positive infinity. Okay, then the range. So, for the range naman natin, once again graph natin yan, i-check nyo yung graph. Okay, so y-axis tayo. So, this is our y-axis. So, saan ulit sila hindi nag-meet? Sa y-axis. Saan sila hindi nag-meet? Alin dyan yung point na hindi na-touch ni graph? So, that is positive 1 din. Okay, so now, the value of our range, since hindi siya nag-touch doon sa positive 1, so negative infinity up to the limitation or restriction which is positive 1, y-axis po ang tinutukoy ko. And next, union, the restriction which is positive 1 up to, again, the restriction which is positive 1 up to positive infinity. So that is already the domain and the range of this function. Okay, so another. Kung meron akong y is equal to 2x plus 3 over 2x minus 1, and you're going to find the domain and the range. Okay, so to find the domain, check lang natin ulit, ano ba yung restriction? And to find the range, ano rin yung restriction or limitation or boundary? Okay, so again, to find the domain, kunin mo muna yung zeros ni denominator. So that will serve as your restriction or boundary. So the zeros of the denominator, so kunin si denominator 2x minus 1, equate kay 0, and that is 2x is equal to, from negative 1, it will become positive 1, and divide both sides by 2, then x is equal to 1 over 2. Okay, so ito na yung nagsilbing restriction. So kung mapapansin nyo, itong graph natin ay hindi nagtagpo sa x, which is 1/2. So ito yung 1, nandito yung 1/2. Okay, so palapit lang siya ng palapit, pero hindi nag-meet. Okay, so now, the value of our domain is negative infinity, then the restriction, which is yung zeros of denominator natin, 1/2, union, since dalawa ang graph, restriction natin, which is 1/2, up to positive infinity. So now, to find the range naman, i-check mo lang ulit yung graph, saan ba siya hindi nag-meet? Kay y-axis. Okay? Ano yung value or ano yung point dito sa y na hindi na-touch ni graph? So, papunta or hindi siya nag-touch kay positive 1. So, wala ako ditong na-touch na may y is equal to 1. Therefore, ayun na yung mismong restriction natin pagdating kay range. So, the value of our range is negative infinity, restriction, which is 1, union, the restriction, which is 1, up to positive infinity. So, that is already the domain and the range of this graph.